To bring in Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton, member of the Judiciary Committee, and Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. One thing that's a little puzzling about this is that what Manchin likes is very similar to the Georgia voting bill. And the Georgia voting bill, Stacey Abrams said, was Jim Crow too. So you could be a little confused as to what the Democrats are actually trying to do here. Do you have any idea?
I'll confess I'm always confused whenever Stacey Abrams is advocating for some radical voting proposal. But Dana, I think it's pretty clear what the Democrats are trying to do. S1 is the Democrats' bill to rig our elections forever. They can't pass their unpopular agenda, so rather than changing their agenda, they want to change the rules of our democracy. It would require universal mailing out of ballots, even to people who don't want one. It would mandate that states allow ballot harvesting, where activists can come by and ask you if you've got your ballot and you want to turn it over to them. It would do nothing to stop the kinds of radical last-minute changes we saw last year. You know, they make other claims about it that are false. They say that it would eliminate gerrymandering. In reality, it would just give gerrymandering to Democratic operatives in 50 different states. And if you want to see what would happen, take a look at Maryland's map. I know that Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi like to saddle up their high horse on gerrymandering, but take a look at Maryland or maybe Illinois and see what Democrats do when they get their hands on power in this country.
Senator, anytime this issue comes up, it's not clear whether or not they even have the votes to get it through. But if they were able to do this, doesn't this ultimately end up at the U.S. Supreme Court?
Yeah, Bill, there's no doubt that this would go to the Supreme Court, and I think a lot of the bill would be struck down as unconstitutional. The states have primary authority under our Constitution to regulate our election systems. And in most states, like mine, it goes on down to the counties, where counties are primarily responsible for the administration of elections. That is a virtue of our system. That is not a flaw in our system. But there are provisions in the bill that probably wouldn't be struck down by the Supreme Court that are still massively unpopular. This bill would require taxpayer funding of politicians' campaigns. Most politicians would get, for Congress, or especially for the Senate, would get hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars to fund attack ads on their opponents. I doubt many Americans are in favor of subsidizing political attack ads for politicians with whom they disagree.
There's no bill text yet, but do Democrats have the votes? Could they cobble together enough votes to get this passed?
No, Dana, I mean, they haven't had 50 votes to this point, but they certainly don't have 60 votes to pass this bill. I would not expect a single Republican to vote for a bill that does things like, as I said, requires taxpayer funding of politicians' campaigns. On
another topic, sir, the authorized use of military force has been in effect for almost 20 years now. Going back to 2002, at this point, you've had House votes that have passed it. 49 Republicans joined with them. Would you support a revision of this, or would you support what's moving right now in the House?
Well, Bill, I'm not sure that House bill is going to come before the Senate, at least come before the Senate by itself. What I would say is I just don't think it matters all that much because you still have the 2001 use of force resolution, and more importantly and fundamentally, you have the president's inherent power as commander-in-chief under our Constitution. What it reflects to me, though, is a set of misplaced priorities by the Democrats. Rather than, say, fully funding our military or standing up to Iran and not re-entering the Iranian nuclear deal, Joe Biden is once again demonstrating weakness to our adversaries. Remember, Joe Biden advocated against the military raid that killed Osama bin Laden. So if anything, I worry that Joe Biden will use this as an excuse to hide behind legal semantics to not take military action when necessary, as President Trump did when he killed Qasem Soleimani in Iraq, Iran's terrorist mastermind.
That's the point, right? And this was debated during the Obama administration with very similar outcomes. Thank you so much, Senator.
Senator, thank you. Back on the voting